If one does not know which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable. Have a goal, sail directly towards that goal, right? Working hard doesn't cut it. BLX, Bitcoin. We're looking at the BLX specifically today because it has certain things that you might not be able to see, like how about the rest of history of Bitcoin? If you're looking at just the Bitcoin chart, you can only see, the past several years or so, about 5 years. The BLX goes all the way back, right? All the way back to even like 2010. So if you don't know about that, now you know. Now, looking at this, right, we're getting a bounce off of the 100-month, right? This is the blue line, the 100-month. And if you can't see that on your Bitcoin chart, you're not going to be able to, right? You have to have history. That's why we're on the BLX. So the 100-month EMA, that's where we've bounced so far. Where will we stop, right? Well, we're coming to the underside of kind of the levels that we kind of broke, right? Massive underside retest here approaching fast. So this candle closed back in September at 19.4, right? So that's where we need to be starting to watch here. 19.9 on this one, right at 20K on this one, right? 19.4 on that one, and this one, 17K. So we've passed all of that so far, but we haven't closed this. We have 18 days. Just more than 18 days until we close. So watching this monthly close could be big. We don't want to see any wick. If we have what's called as a shaven head, which we have no wick on the top, that's a bullish sign. So that's what we want to be looking for, right? Look at these candles way back yonder. Does anybody still use that? Where we move up, right? See the very little wicks? That means no selling pressure, and everyone's buying all the way into the close, right? That would be exactly what we want to see continued upside, right? Obviously, if you want to buy at 12K or 11K or whatever your favorite YouTuber said, then you're going to want to see a nice tall wick, kind of like this candle, and a massive sell-off. But let's get to the more important, and the reasoning we made this video is for the massive 50 of you that are going to watch this. Let's look at the indicators. The indicators are very bigly on this one. Okay, so we're going to go over these in kind of depth here, right? Let's start with the Stochastic RSI, which a lot of you might have been familiar with. That tells you your momentum. It's based off the RSI, which RSI is based on price. The Stochastic RSI is based on the RSI. So now, if you didn't know, now you know. Looking at our previous bear markets, right? We always get down here, right? We lose momentum, and then we see this kind of blue line kind of pop up and start to kind of work its way up, and the red line should follow, right? But even back here, right? January 2019, we got a little bit of a rise and then continued rise. That's what you want to be watching, right? You don't want to cross back on the red, right? So far, so good in 2015, and we never even attempted it in 2019. And now look at where we are, right? We tried it a couple times, but the dilly-dally back in the bear markets is expected. But once we have a kind of a decisive cross, right, that looks pretty good. Look at the angle on that, right? We haven't had that since maybe right there, right, where we got our kind of trying to avoid going into the full-blown bear, and then, the bears get us. And now this is important to be watching for the updates come February 1st, right? So this will update, even bigger on February 1st, and we'd love to see something like this, right? So let's pay attention to that, right? Some bigger things potentially showing that the transition from bearish to, starting a bull run can be slow to form, could take months, but the signs, right, you need to be paying attention that the signs could be blatantly in front of your face and you can miss them. Certainly if you're focusing on the hourly or daily charts only, right? So let's go to our next big one, right? Let's look at the MFI, Money Flow Index, right? What do we notice back in the good old heydays of 2011, right? Look at the move down, and then once we bounce, that's it, right? Well, that's kind of it. Look at the next bear market, right? At the bottom in 2015, once we move down and we bounce, that's really it. Look at the last one, right? 2018 to 2019, go down, get way oversold here, and then bounce where our low actually happened to be. I'm trying to get a value on this, but it looks like we're about 15, 16 right in there. And then what do we notice, right? Once we bounce, we don't look back. Where are we now, right? We're still going down. We don't have a bounce yet, but I would suspect if we're anywhere north of like 18K, come February 1st, this would you watch this. When we form February 1st, you need to be checking the monthly MFI and see if it's bouncing, right? Historically, just in the past, 13 years. Once we bounce, that's marks the end. That doesn't mean prices are in up only mode, but the signs for the bear market to start to come to an end are there, right? So we're looking here now. We're now becoming oversold on the monthly time frame, right? We've been down only since August at least, right? No money coming in. So watch for that, right? And, vice versa. When we get back up to, these upper areas, right? We always, on the monthly chart, go above that line, right? So once we start getting above 80 on the next bull cycle, whether that be, whatever year, I'm guessing somewhere in this area, right? Some 2025, 2026, something up in here. So once we get up here, no matter what the price is, 100K, 150K, 200K, 80K, right? If we're up in this area, it's time to at least do yourself a favor and maybe take a little bit off the top, right? If you're still around during this point, right? Who knows when the top is going to be, right? Just like last time. You don't know, right? Was this the top? No. April 2021? No, that wasn't our high, but what if you just took half of your stack or 25% of your stack off the table right here, right? When you're at 94 on the MFI, might have been a decent idea, right? Okay, so burn these into your images, right? And burn these images into your brain. How about that one? And add this to your chart, right? Okay, let's go to the next indicator. That's kind of bigly, where we're looking at the Fisher transform. This has got a lot of math involved in it, and if I only pick one indicator, this would be it, right? So I haven't talked about this much here, but I talk about it all the time in our Telegram group. So join us there if you want some more tips and tricks. So we're looking at this, going all the way back to 2011, same thing, but looking at where we are now, right? We're at our lowest point ever. And just in the past several days, this has started to bend. This is why I'm making this now. In the past several days, like 3 days ago, before we really started any kind of bullish momentum to the upside, this was running parallel. When they're running parallel, you can just fucking ignore it, okay? But once you start getting these moves where you start to cross, I mean, what do you notice about the monthly? It doesn't have a whole lot of fake outs, right? When it crosses, it's big. Some say huge. So once we get this update, if we get this, what's called a trigger, if we cross this trigger, which our last trigger down was 2021, December of 2021, right? That would be a big time to start paying attention, or at least, getting out. So not saying go all in if this crosses, but just like the top, what if you just put, if you have $1,000 or 10,000 set aside, maybe 10, 20, 30%, 50% of what you're thinking about putting in might be a decent idea, just like the top. You don't know if that's the top. We don't know if this is the bottom, but damn, do yourself a favor and at least don't be left on the sidelines if this is one of the biggest shifts, that we've seen and since like 2019, right? Make sure, right? This is the proof. This isn't some random dude saying, buy the dip or anything like that, right? We're looking at facts. That's what I try to focus on. Anybody that's watching this far has probably seen some other videos, right? So this is probably the biggest sign that it should be exciting for a lot of people. If we get this, no guarantees, right? This could straighten out. If we're at 16K at the end of the month, right, in 18 days, then whatever, we'll wait. But when this does trigger a buy, right, that's what that would mean. On the monthly, you can't ignore it, right? It's huge. All right, another thing we're watching for on the Bitcoin chart, not on the BLX because it's too laggy, but go to the Bitcoin chart on then the weekly hash ribbons. This is massive. We haven't had a buy signal since 2021, right? Summer 2021, right here, right? We've gotten crosses, but we're on the verge of crossing here, indicating a recovery out of the Bitcoin miners. That's all this does. So last time we crossed, we only just got a recovery signal. So it's great, but it doesn't really mean anything. These are the big ones. If we get a blue buy signal in the next handful of weeks, could take this week, right? Could come Sunday night, right, when we close. Maybe this prints blue. It could take another week. It could take another several months. But it's worth watching now because the gap is closing. And when it closes and crosses, that's when you'll either get one of these or one of these. We need the blue buy signal. If we get that, again, just like the Fisher transform, just like the MFI, just like, not knowing if the top is in or the bottom is in, do yourself a favor and at least put a stack in so you don't, miss the boat if so facto we are getting ready to lift off, right? I know not a lot of people are ready for a bull run yet, and they can be slow to form. It doesn't mean you can't go down 10, 20% again, but it's worth, not having things happen for, 18 plus months, and then all of a sudden those things are happening again. Like that's the evidence you're waiting for, right? Hopefully, right? That's why you're even watching charts or YouTube videos, right? You're trying to get an edge on the next person, and I'm trying to give you the edge, right? If you have multiple indicators saying similar things, that things are transitioning and, we're on the verge of a move to the bull side, not to the bear side anymore. The bears are starting to die when all these things start to happen. That will keep you a little bit ahead of the rest of the folk. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. That's kind of what we're watching for, the weekly, right? Look at the momentum we're gaining on the stochastic. The RSI is even creeping up here on the weekly, the weekly RSI, until we can flip above, right? Go back. If you can go back on the BLX here, and it's even bigger, but we're really got to flip, mid 50s here. You can see kind of, this is all bull cycle, bulls, bears, below here. If you had to cut and make a fence here, bears on this side, bulls on this side, and we're still down here. But I mean, look how fast you can move up, right? It can go quickly. So maybe in March, April, we could do something like, we don't have to go up only, right? But maybe we kind of, dilly-dally around, and maybe let me look at April, right? We're still in like early spring, right? We could be up here, and if once we get above here, then it's you're missing out. You're missing out, right? Because we got rejected here. Anytime we get above here, I mean, there's price explosions, not only in Bitcoin, but altcoins are starting to pop off as well. So we have a ways to go. We are at, mid 40s now. But once we get above mid 50s, that's absolutely bullish territory. And things will start moving much more quickly once that occurs. So hopefully you found this video helpful. Hopefully you're getting a little bit more excited than you have been in the past 13 months. And, good things will come. So let's get to the one more thing. If you're still watching here, that we need to be watching like a hawk for the next, couple days to weeks, right? We talked about the monthly rejection zone, kind of underside retest. Not only that, but the bull market support band. Like, what is that? If you've never heard that, hopefully you've heard that, but it's kind of just the 21-week EMA mixed with the 20-week SMA. So if you put the Bollinger Bands on, that median line that you see, the little thin purple line, is just the 20-week SMA. So you don't have to have, if you're wondering how to get a bull market support band, you can just use that, right? The support band just fills in that gap. That's all it is. It's nothing complex. It's the 21 EMA, the 20 SMA weekly, and then filled, right? And that's where we are. We're in the middle of it right now, right? So what we need to do to turn bullish again, we need to get above it and hold it as support for multiple weeks. And then altcoins will absolutely go bonkers. Now, could that happen in the next week? No, right? I just said you have to get above it, hold it as support for multiple weeks, then altcoins will start to move. Historically, that's how it's always been done. And until proven otherwise, that's what we should be looking for next. So 21-week SMA, EMA, we're looking at in the yellow right there, right? See that move? 19,249. That's as of right now. It can change, fluctuate based on where we are. So we still have some work to do. This is a great first step. Nice weekly volume. Super move up. 10%. It's been a long time since we had a 10% Bitcoin candle. So worth taking note, paying attention. Now's not the time to be slacking off and ignoring Bitcoin, right? We need to be watching where we close. 2 days, 10 hours. We will see. Hopefully this was helpful to some of you out there. Thumbs up. Leave me a comment if this helped you. What was your favorite part? I'd like to know. And I do my best to read all of the comments. I usually try to like, so leave me a comment, especially if you're new here. Thumbs up. Follow us on Telegram. Follow us on Twitter, right? Try to put some extra stuff out in there. I'll see you on the next one. You did quote of the day. Let's do car of the day because I almost forgot. Can't forget the cars. Ferrari F430. Slightly older car, but I think it's still fantastic looking. for being like 10, 15 years old. I don't know the exact dates, but it's probably the best bang for your buck for a Ferrari. I think you can get them, rough, higher mileage, not the best condition. You're looking about maybe 100. Perfect condition, like this one seems to look, probably about 150, especially with the Spider. The Spider's the convertible. Probably the best value supercar out there. Maybe a McLaren 570S. You can get a newer one, but for a Ferrari for under 150K, I don't know how you can do better than that. There's the back, and you can see the engine. I mean, that's pretty clutch right there. That's it. All right. We'll end the rambling, and happy Bitcoin bull market, bear market, dividing day. I don't know. We're gonna need a better term for that. I didn't plan that ahead very well. I'll see you on the next one.